Hi and welcome back to my channel. Unfortunately, we're not going to be delving into choosing my donor today. However, I think we can kind of get into the things that you should be thinking about if you're considering having a donor, the things that I'm thinking about, the things that I thought about when I conceived Leo, and the things that I definitely wasn't thinking about when I conceived Riley with my ex-fiance. So this is something that I talk about often because I think it's incredibly important, but so many people get caught up in the baby needs to be cute and, you know, I want them to really look a certain way, or this donor's baby profile pictures or whatever are super cute. And, you know, although we all naturally want our children to be cute, I think, I just want to say that because they're your kids, you're going to know and think that they are beautiful and special and all that naturally. I think it's just a biological thing, honestly. Fortunately, there are tons of donor profiles with super cute baby pictures, which is great. Sure, it's a bonus. However, I think it's a little bit more important to focus on the medical things. Now, one thing that I have talked about with specialists in that field with genetic testing and things like that, they have all reassured me that the people that are choosing to be donors are really, they go through the ringer, okay? They go through tons of testing. Now, if these people were carriers for something incredibly serious, that donor would not be allowed to be a donor, okay? So that being said, they do have markers that will be shown in their genetic testing that they do get done. They're tested for tons and tons of different things, okay? And among those, they will give a breakdown in each donor profile saying what the risks are for each person. Like if they have a heightened risk in possibly passing down something like, let's say, cystic fibrosis or muscular skeletal dystrophy, things like that, that will be noted in their breakdown for their genetic testing. So what they're carriers for. So those are things that are incredibly important to be looking at. And like I said, you know, having a cute kid is great. But I think above all of that, we all want a healthy kid that is happy. So of course there's things that are just kind of unavoidable, and I'm someone who is a huge believer in everything happens exactly as it should. And I believe that, we kind of roll with the punches and just go with the flow is the best way to kind of live life and take things as they come, but also getting ahead of things that, you know, could be a bit of a hurdle later on is smart. You know, make sure that you're informed, make sure that you do your testing, and just make sure that you're making a good choice, you know. But you can do things like choose a specific eye color, specific hair color, specific skin tone, ethnic background, cultural background, things like that. You can choose if they are educated. You can choose, oh my gosh, there's so many different things that you could like specify that really fit what you're looking for. So that's great. I know for me, again, I really wanted just somebody that has brown hair because we all have brown hair. I was kind of hoping for somebody with either green eyes or blue eyes because I have green, Riley has blue, my ex had blue, and Leo has brown eyes. But my mom and my brother have brown eyes. So it's not like it's a big deal. And either way, if you have different colored eyes, it doesn't matter. Like I said, Riley and I have different colored eyes. So, I mean, she's not any less a part of me, you know, but again, it all depends on what factors you're really looking for and what's important to you, really, right? Because at the end of the day, no matter what, if you are looking down at your healthy, beautiful little baby, you're not gonna be like, oh, they're so beautiful, but their eyes should have been a shade or two lighter. You know what I mean? Like it's not even gonna be a thought. If it is, like, you can call me out on that, but I can't imagine that being something that's like, oh, this just ruined this beautiful, incredible moment for me. Their eyes are 2 shades too dark or 2 shades too light or whatever, you know what I mean? So, I think just really looking for the things that matter. And I loved looking at their essays. I thought that was so interesting. And I would imagine that most people are on their best behavior when they're answering those questions, and they're kind of, putting their best foot forward, which kind of like a job interview type of thing, right? You're going to say the right things to a certain extent, but it's still nice to hear them speaking, because a lot of them too have audio files, so you can hear their voice, which is cool. Because if your child, when they're older, wants to hear that, or whenever really, but if you choose to share that with your child, that could be a really cool, special thing. And I feel like, again, with a lot of people that I've spoken to that are donor conceived people, or moms that are raising donor conceived people, we try to get ahead of maybe potential questions that are going to come, and kind of try to make sure that our child feels connected to their family, their extended biological family. I think it's important. As much as, what's funny too is that I, know who both my parents are. I was raised by both of them until I was around 11, 12. And, I know my aunts and uncles on both sides, and, cousins and everybody. And still, I'm the type of person that I want to dig deeper. Tell me everything. I like to know people's stories. I have family that comes from Calabria. I have family from places in Scotland. I don't know where exactly, because I haven't been able to pry that from them. But I want to know, what was it like living in Calabria? I've never been. I want to go. What is it like in Scotland? Never been. Would love to go. Where in Scotland are we from? What did our family do? I'm talking generations and generations ago, right? Because we've been in Canada for many generations, but it's so interesting to me. And again, my parents were together, and it's not, because they weren't, that I would want to know those things. So I think just depending on who you are, no matter how you come to be single mom by choice, your parents are together, your parents are married forever, whatever it is that brings you here to earth, I think it depends on the kind of person that you are, if you're really going to want to know more and do more digging. And I'm just a digger like that. I want to hear all your stories. I want to know all of the way people live. My grandmother, my paternal grandmother, is English, Scottish, I think Irish too. I don't know, we're a lot of different things, okay? And when she grew up in PEI, Prince Edward Island, Canada, and she had an outhouse, they went to the bathroom outside, lived in a farmhouse. Our family still owns the farmhouse, which is cool, it's still in the family. And I think that is just so fascinating, which is maybe I need to get some hobbies, I don't know. But to me, it's cool to know that. Do you know what I mean? So I think for our children, as much information as we can collect to be able to give to them is cool. Who doesn't want to know their history, right? So yeah, I think it's cool to listen to those audio files, get their donor essays, all of those things that you can. Sometimes you can get a profile, a profile silhouette, so you can see kind of what they look like, make your own idea, I guess. And childhood photos, all of those things. And also, another fun thing is that you can see if they have brothers, sisters. Sometimes they talk about aunts, uncles, whatever. They don't give you a great detail, it's a medical history. But even that's kind of cool to know. Okay, so on that side you have an aunt, you have a biological aunt, or two biological aunts, or whatever it is, because again, the more information, the better, especially if they come and ask those questions. I'm not talking about those things with Leo in any capacity. To me, he doesn't need to know all of that right now. We're definitely not speaking about those things. However, we do, we're super into Bluey. Bluey's cool because Riley kind of likes it too. She's 9. And Leo, of course, loves it. He's 2.5. So it's kind of a fun, and it's great for parents because a lot of the humor and those things are geared towards us because it's really real life. And yeah, it's something that we all watch. But in Bluey, there's mom, dad, bingo, Bluey, right? And it's interesting because, again, you guys know, Riley doesn't see her dad. There's no paternal figure in our home, in our family. And you know, you see it in TV, you see it in movies, you see it in a lot of things where there's a mom, dad, children, right? There's a lot of that. And he won't really say anything. Like Riley, of course, knows she's 9. She has a grasp on it. But Leo will say sometimes like, Mom, Dad, and he'll kind of like look at me. And I say, yeah, in Bluey's family, there's a mom, a dad, a bingo, and a Bluey. In our family, we have a mom, a sissy, and a mommy. We have a mommy, we have a sissy, and we have a Leo. And we also have a Malcolm, who's our cat. And that's it. Like I paint the picture for him in as much of a normal, because it is normal, as much as sometimes people can make it some abnormal, crazy, wild thing that, you know, we have some extraordinarily wild life that we live, our family structure that's wildly insane. And it's really not. Like, how many families in North America are single parent families? A lot. So it's really not as, you know, strange as it can be made out to be, and there's not a ton of representation. So I think it's important to just normalize, which it should already be, but just normalize different families. And I do that a lot. We talk about, like, we have some books too where it's like the book will be mom and dad and this, or baby and dad, or whatever, and I'll switch it that it's 2 moms, or I switch it that it's grandma and the kids, or it's grandma, grandpa, and the kids, or auntie and the kids, or, you know, you catch my drift. But I think it's just important for my kids, even Riley, who's older, to really know. And I mean, she does, because we have tons of conversations about, like, same-sex couples. We have conversations about, again, tons of different family structures, but adoption, we talk about the IUI, again, not really in huge detail, but donor conception and all those things. And she understands that she has options. In our house, we don't talk about how when you grow up and get married, like, sometimes she'll say stuff like, oh, you know, when I'm older and I have a husband. And I always, like, I listen. Of course, she's entitled to, you know, her like excitement for the future and how she envisions her life, right? But I try to, whenever I have a chance, to be like, you know, when you're older and if you get your own home and you have your own career, and I try to make the focus really about her. You know what I mean? Her as an individual. And, you know, you love your art, and hopefully you still love your art when you're older. And if you do, maybe you can have your own little, like, art studio. How cool would that be? And, you know, we're trying to get into gardening, and that would be so fun if, you know, you still loved gardening and you had your own little garden, or whatever it is. And, you know, you've been talking about getting a dog forever, since you came out the womb, you wanted a dog. You know, finally, hopefully you'll be able to have tons of dogs of your own. Maybe you could run like a foster thing for dogs or pets that, you know, need a temporary housing, or, you know, how fun would that be? And, you know, if you have a bunch of great friends that maybe have a lot of the same hobbies that you do, that you can hang out with, and, you know, if there's a great, you know, partner or a great man that, you know, we really want to share some of your life with, that's awesome too. But, you know, I really hope that you hang on to how awesome you are, you know, and what a cool life you can live, and how smart you are, and how much you have to offer to the world, and your talents. And I just choke all that down because I think, you know, just so much of our generation, you know, I'm assuming the majority of the people that are listening right now are, you know, probably around, give or take, my age, are most likely women. And, you know, so many of us were told, you know, when you find you're a special person when you're older, or your fairy tale wedding. And that was the ideal for so many of us, was this, you know, it's going to be man plus woman equals family. And, you know, we're selling the dream about career, and, you know, you're going to be working and taking care of the family, and, you know what I mean? Or maybe you'll get to stay home and it'll be magical, and he'll be bringing home the bacon, and you'll just be a homemaker. And again, for some people, that is still the dream, and it is a beautiful life that they're living, and there's no shame on that either. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's a shame for most of us, because we were sold so short, and I refuse to continue that. with either of my kids. Like my son, same thing again, he's 2, so a lot of our conversations aren't that yet, you know, in depth anyway. But we just talk about how you're an awesome you know, and there's no completion in somebody else, not in your friends, not in your schoolwork, not in any of those things. You're just awesome as you. And when you grow older, you're going to still be awesome you. You're not going to be awesome because of this accomplishment like graduation, university, getting a doctorate, getting married, buying your first car, you know what I mean? Like buying a house, you know, whatever, you know what I mean? It's just, I try not to measure their lives' successes or future successes in accomplishments, because there's just so much negativity in that. I think we've all lived enough, you know, generations before us and our own, and, you know, we've proven that it's enough of that. Like, let's just like find fulfillment within ourselves and love ourselves, because there's too many of us that are walking around having no idea who we are, feeling kind of crappy about ourselves because we haven't accomplished A, B, C, D, you know, all the things that we're supposed to. And yeah, I kind of went off on a tangent, but I think it's important for our kids to know that there's options. It's important to know that they, again, if you're a single mom by choice or choosing this, to raise our children knowing that they are a product of love, even if we did it alone, you know what I mean? And because there's so much of that, like, oh, you know, we're married and we had a child and they're a byproduct of that love we had for each other and blah, blah, blah. But having a child out of wedlock as a single mom by choice, right, is absolutely a choice rooted in love. And they are a product of immense love. And yeah, and empowerment and a lot of beautiful, positive things, okay, is what leads women to this choice and to being a mom to these amazing kids. So yeah, I think it's just, I don't remember what I was saying, but it's just, it's important to have those conversations about our children's options, so that way when they grow older, they know that they have options and that they're special, and whatever they choose, as long as they're following their heart and they're not hurting anybody, it's a beautiful choice. And they don't have to live inside of this ridiculous box that so many of us were forced into. And yeah, so I mean, we have these conversations. It's important. Same's going to be done with the next baby, if that happens, if I'm blessed to have another. And yeah, the more opportunity I have too to talk with my kids about the whole process, and using a donor is amazing. And especially Riley's older and Leo's getting there to kind of understand. And he even asks me too now, like, Mommy has a baby in her belly. And I said, no, not yet. We're working on it. And he'll look, sometimes tries to see my belly button, and he pokes my belly button and we move on with that. But yeah, it's exciting. And to know, like, I mean, obviously they know that if a baby's in my stomach, I don't have a husband, I don't have a partner, whatever, we could talk about that, you know? And again, age appropriate ways of speaking about those things. But, you know, people talk about how they're a mommy and a daddy and they love each other, so they want to have another baby. So why is it taboo to say, you know, mommy loves you guys so much and mommy has extra love in her heart to have another baby, and there's going to be another one joining our family, a brother or a sister or whatever, because mommy's just so full of love because I love you guys. You know what I mean? I think that's a beautiful thing. Anyway, I am so grateful to you for being here. Okay, please, that's it for today. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all those things, and come back next week for an all new video.